the podcast Empowering People, a show dedicated to helping folks find their path to success. Sponsored by Hypnosis Works LLC and Realty MD. Your hosts, Dave Membrilla and Martha Dabdu. Take it away, folks. Welcome to another episode of
Empowering People.
My name is David Membrilla from Hypnosis Works LLC with my co-host
Martha Dabdu with Realty MD.
And today we have a special young man. This is our a guest. I was very good friends with this young man's mom and dad growing up. And I was been impressed with this young guy. Well, he's about middle-aged now. Pretty much his whole life because he's done a numerous amount of things in business, and he's done well, failed, done well, failed, done well, and then he stumbled onto something that I'm gonna let him tell you about it. It's kind of pretty cool and it's pretty exciting actually. But everything he's done is something that made me step back and take a look at it and say, wow, I mean, I haven't even had the guts to try something like that. Diego Rivera, tell us your story.
Yo, how's it going, guys? Hey, thanks, Dave, for the introduction. I appreciate that, honestly, man. How you guys doing? My name is Diego. I'm from Pop Studio. If you guys don't understand, if you guys don't know what Pop Studios is, it's a podcast studio that we have decided to rent out. We started it first from just my friends. We just wanted to do something here at our warehouse, and we built this studio, and then all of a sudden people wanted to rent it. So now we're renting it, and we're doing some really cool things and hopefully some exciting things in Tucson and the community needs. And we've been having a good positive response so far. So yeah.
Did you happen to bring that magazine?
Oh no, I didn't. But you know what? I'll bring it.
We're gonna get to that. Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a minute. Diego is Yaqui, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I'm from the Pasco Yaqui
tribe. And there it is, right there. And I think his partner Chris Kidney is the other half of this duo, and they've done a great job. In fact, they're the reasons that we're able to have fun with our podcast. Martha and myself, and we're going to show you this. Diego was when did they honor you with that?
I think this was the cover. I think this is the April issue. I want to say it's the April issue of the Hola Tucson. So we're on here. You see these in restaurants and local business here around town. The guy Jesus, the owner, is a great guy, and he allowed me to be featured right here. We're centerfold, boom, about our new business and our new business venture. And honestly, man, we didn't know if it was going to work, you know, and we still don't know it's going to work. It's one of those things where we don't know what we're doing, but in a good way. You know, we're just kind of just like making stuff up as we go along, because, you know, a business model with what we're doing here and the things that we're doing is really not like textbook. So we kind of have to just go with the flow and, you know, figure things out.
You know, in that whole line, we don't know what we're doing, pretty much sums it up in terms of how I've seen Diego start everything, because he started off with, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all. Started off making hot dogs, had a hot dog cart.
Yeah, that's true.
And it was about the time that I was starting to write a movie, because I remember you hooked me up with the guy where your hot dog stand, or you would park your hot dog cart at.
Oh, yeah.
And the hot dogs are good. I mean, I remember hiring you. I can't remember if it was a birthday party or what it was. You came out and told, well, you made hot dogs for the kids and all that. And they were good hot dogs. And I thought, okay, this guy's onto something. Then the next thing I know, he's opening up a restaurant over there, and I'm going to have him tell you about it, by the University of Arizona. And it's right there off the square, off of University Avenue. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I mean, how many people do I know who could never get a location like that? And Diego's there. And he offered music out there in the patio, and it was a gigging place. I went there a couple times. And then from there, he opened up another restaurant that was almost in the downtown area, right? Buena
Vida, yeah.
And he offered, he had midget wrestling and...
not midget
Were you the wrestler?
But luchador.
Okay.
It was a luchador themed restaurant. Yeah,
Lucha
libre. Yeah, we had a you know, when I talked to a family friend of mine who's an interior designer, And she's like, what are you going to do about your restaurant? I said, what do you mean? She's like, well, you need to have a theme. And I said, I never really thought about it. And then she came to me about like a month into my project. She's like, I got a theme for you. She said, what? She says, Lucha Libre. I was like, I don't know. She's like, there's not a place like this in Tucson. You have to do it. And then I said, you know what? I'll think about it. And then I thought about it and I said, okay, yeah, let's do it. And then we went balls to the wall with it, man. We had Lucha Libre we had wrestling man, we had outdoor wrestling for a while, and it was a fun time, man. It was a fun restaurant, and we loved it a lot. But like, unfortunately, like any other restaurant, it's hard work and.
Well, the hardest thing in the world is to open up some kind of food service, a restaurant especially. But to see him go from the hot dog stand, I mean, I go back to that hot dog stand because that was the beginning, into a restaurant that served alcohol, into another restaurant and fight the city for some type of alcohol license, and to do everything he did. You had car shows, you had an art fair. There you had book signings. I was able to do my book signing.
Oh, yeah, you did your book signing there. Yeah, exactly.
Right there. So, I mean, and again, it goes back to somebody who was never scared about taking a risk.
Never.
And then, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, the food service business, the hardest thing in the world to do. What's going to be next for Diego? And the next thing I know, he's opening up Pop Studio and he's doing podcasts.
Yeah.
And he's on a magazine
I like
cover.
the name.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Diego, what inspired you? What inspired you to even, initially to want to start your own hot dog stand, and then transpired into gradually moving to more other restaurants?
I got to tell you, I wanted to start a hot dog stand. After seeing you do I was going to buy his hot dog
You know what's
cart
funny
with
is everybody still identifies me as the hot dog dude. It's so funny. Everyone always brings up my hot dog stand. But I'll tell you what, honestly, is I hate working for people. I hate being told what to do, and I hate working for people. Honestly, that's it. And and that's really where I was at. And I was like, okay, well, and I always had that entrepreneur, like I always wanted to start something or do something. And that's kind of like what drove me to to always start something new.
So here's my question. You went from food restaurant now to Pop Studio.
I know, it's crazy.
Doing your podcast.
Yeah.
What made that transition?
Right now, this is all by accident. It's just all. This is all because we actually built this studio. We didn't build this for this. We didn't.
For this purpose.
Like, honestly, I didn't build it for you guys. No, I built it. I built it for
I thought it was for David.
No, I actually built it for my. A couple of friends of mine were doing their podcast at my restaurant, and they were helping me. They were bringing people. So Chris had his own show there and stuff like that. And so what we ended up doing is, when I left there, I said, you know what? I said, I have an extra room. Let's have them do their show here, and then maybe I can sell my shirts, or because I have a t-shirt business and stuff too. So I can sell my stuff here.
So that was your original purpose.
That was
warehouse.
that was 100% the purpose of this. And then I had brought in. I had recorded a few people, and then Bernadette Alvaro, she a good friend of mine, my executive assistant. She's great. She came in here and said, "Hey, you know what? You need to rent this out." And I was like, "Nah, I don't want to rent it out. I don't want people, She's like, "No, seriously, you have something here." And then I teamed up with Chris. Chris helped me from the very beginning because he was doing his own thing at his house. And then I said, "Look, man, I need to turn this into a podcast studio. Make a list and let's try to get it." And we did, and we're here. And then I think we have one of the best engineers in town, and we got together and here we are, and we're renting it out and doing stuff.
And how fast did that happen from closing the restaurant to opening Pop Studio? Your time frame on that?
Man, what was it, like 3-4 months? I didn't care.
Okay.
I'm on to my next thing.
4
You're
months.
definitely a risk taker.
Within 4 months.
Yeah, you know what? It's like, if you're scared about something, or if you're worried about taking a risk, then it's not worth it.
Well, I think the first question for entrepreneurs, right, or business owners is, where do I get the money?
Yeah,
How do
I know.
start?
Yeah, everybody asks me.
How do I fund it?
I don't know. Yeah, how do you get funding? How do you start it? And there's lucky enough with me being a minority. So if there's anybody minority out there, trust me, there's plenty of programs out there with small businesses. There's a couple businesses here, a couple organizations here in town. I don't remember who they were that can help you, but just save your money. I bought my bar off my retirement, and it was like the stupidest thing ever. It was the stupidest thing I ever did. But that gave me the itch. See, I think the first thing
There was opportunity.
well, I think the first thing, to take that giant leap is, I had already taken that giant leap, like the what ifs and all this stuff, or what if it doesn't, so I had already done that with the bar. So I had already experienced that. So after that, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's start another business. Let's do this. You know what I mean? So, I mean, really, it's not about fear. It's just about like, how are you going to, like me, it's not about fear anymore. It's just about how am I going to sustain it? How am I going to continue to grow? How am I going to continue to get the money? How am I going to continue to pay for the lights? That sort of thing.
Your expenses.
Yeah, and then I had a wise man with my godfather. He's a wise man. No, but he told me, he says, what holds you back from a lot of things that you do? I said, man, what if I fail? What if I can't get the money? And he said this, for every what if, there's always an at least. And I was like, man, yeah. He said, so what if you fail? At least you tried. Well, what if you don't have the money? Well, at least you have your family. You know what I mean? What if I lose the restaurant? Well, at least you still have your family and you can go home, and then at least you can find another job. You know what I mean? So that kind of got me through it. You know what I mean?
And you would have never known. If you wouldn't have taken those risks, you would have never known. So what would you tell somebody who was in your shoes at the beginning? Your wise man was there for you, right?
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, take risks. Don't be afraid. Life's short. I mean, we're only on this earth for what, 70, 80 years. And like the human race, that's like, I mean, for any species, it's a very short time. So, a lot of, I was on another podcast and the guy said, he went into a nursing home and they asked him like, hey, what were some of the things that you regret? They said not taking risks. A lot of the old people.
Do you still have that hot dog stand for?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we're getting it going.
About offering on that sucker.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah.
This is where his podcast is, and this is what I've always found intriguing about Diego is that, again, he's never been afraid to do something. I like that. What if there's another? What was it? What if?
For every what if, there's always an at least.
What if and at least, like for instance, what if the creditors are after me? At least I can run to Mexico. That was thinking of my mind. But
at least I can use a fake social.
Right. Well, what's always intrigued me about Diego is the fact that he has never been afraid to try something new or different. I mean, and it was like going from one restaurant to a different. It was a different menu, a different theme. It was a different everything. Going from the restaurant and, of course, to here. What did you do before the hot dog stand? When you said you used the money
I worked at Del Sol. Shout out to my Pascua Yaqui tribe, the Casino Del Sol. I love you guys right here. My old blackjack friends, my old table games friends. I did that for 15 years. So, yeah. So
the money from that is what you used. And your dad was, I remember running into your dad.
Yeah. Oh, my whole family worked there. You know what I mean? We keep it in the tribe, baby. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, so for every what if, there's always an at least. And then I always use, and I'm using this tagline now for Pop Studio, is innovate, don't imitate. So it's basically like I'm always going to try to do something different. And if I do see that somebody's doing something that I like, I always figure out how can we make it better? What can we change so it's not the same? And go from there. That's basically what I stand behind.
And this is how big the studio is growing. The other day, I couldn't be here in town, but I was talking to Diego, and he was talking about a surprise guest that he was going to do a podcast with, and I was thinking, who is this guy? What is he talking about? All of a sudden, on Facebook, he puts it. His guest was going to be Noel G, who I've followed for a long time because if you've ever seen Training Day, it's probably one of his biggest movies, his biggest parts, and people love him for. But he's also a stand-up comedian, which I am as well. And I'm thinking, Diego, how did you get a hold of? Tell that story. How did you get Noel G to come into your studio?
He's my homie, man. He's good, though.
Denzel Washington. He acted with Denzel Washington. Noel G.
Noel G. He's acted with. Okay, first of all, let's talk about Noel real quick. This guy. Hector, because he's played like an actor named he's played the name Hector like 8 times. He has like a list of films. Vin Diesel, Fast and Furious. That's what took his career off. Denzel Washington, Clint Eastwood. He was and Mel Gibson. He's played with Mel Gibson. He was in a Netflix movie with Mel Gibson. So
Wow.
he's done a lot of acting. But anyhow, I met him at a convention about 7 years ago, and I got his number. We were corresponding back and forth for a little bit, and then right before COVID, and then I was gonna have him for a grand opening at Buena Vida. It didn't work out, logistics and all that. And then I had lost his number during COVID. And then when I lost his, always remembered he said, if you lose my number or anything and you need to get in touch with me, contact me on Instagram. You guys contact Noel G on Instagram. He does answer you. It really is him messaging you back.
He's gonna get bombarded.
Yeah. So anyhow,
today.
so I just hit him up on Instagram and said, hey man, I noticed you're in Tucson. Can you stop by? And he's like, I'd love to. And I said, are you serious? And he said, yeah. And I was like, wow, okay. So he stopped by and he gave me the opportunity, and he does get asked a lot to do. And this is why I was very humbled, and I was very surprised, because he does get asked a lot to do podcasts. He's told me this. He's like, I get asked a lot, so I don't know what brought him,
Well,
but
congratulations.
yeah,
You were able to
that's
pull
one of
him in,
them.
yeah.
So something, when we talk about, innovate, don't imitate, we talk about innovating, seeing things, not only, seeing somebody from Tucson, the community, like, hey, you know what, we can bring these people here, you know what I mean? We can interview these people, and that's what I'm really looking at. I'm looking at the big picture now that I know that this is working. And, it's not only for us, but, it's for my audience. It's for the content.
Now, if you didn't catch the show on Saturday, it was awesome. It was a very humble man, very inspiring. I was in New York, as a matter of fact, and it was at night. There was a 3-hour difference, so I was taking a shower trying to listen to the show, and Noel. He talked a little bit about acting, but he talked more about his relationship with Christ and
his leadership,
and his leadership, and how everything is full circle. And I started thinking about that. I haven't met anybody successful yet that has been an atheist. I mean, I don't know if they exist, but he ties success, as many people do, to their faith and something is going to happen. Just like you tied your faith into, if I can't do this, and I go on to the next thing, I go on to the next thing,
Right, exactly, yeah.
So it was a really, really cool podcast. I wrote a movie a while back that we're going to talk about a little bit.
What haven't you done?
And
dang, man, come on, man. Yeah,
The hot dog stand.
Oh,
Diego.
yeah.
And I was trying to get
Dave's hot dog hypnosis dog.
I was trying to get him to send it out to Noel G. I wrote a trailer for it.
We're gonna get out to him. We're gonna get it out to him. We're gonna get him to produce it or something.
He's kind of holding it like a carrot over my head. But not only that, not only Noel G. Who else do you have that's planned? Do you have planned coming up on the shows?
Okay, I
you
got.
can't say it?
No, I can. Yeah, Steve Viegas. Viegas. He's an actor. He's from On My Block on Netflix. He plays Sad Eyes. He has a movie out called Slipping in the Darkness with Victor Rivers. Another Latino wonderful actor. I love him. He's in SWAT on CBS. So I have 2 girls, Erica and Jamie from Big Things Poppin'. They're going to go ahead and interview him. And then it was pre-recorded, and we're going to be airing that on Thursday. This Thursday, actually. It's about an hour interview. Super cool guy, super humble, And but I want to go back to that Noel G thing. So what happened was, I watch a lot of podcasts. I watch a lot of interviews. I watch a lot of YouTube. And, so the way the interview went, I didn't want to ask, he's talked about how he became an actor millions of times. You know what I mean? He's talked about certain things a million times that I didn't want to bring. Oh, how is it working with Denzel? Well, he's always talked about that, So what we try to do is we try to ask him questions that, we try to ask him questions that nobody really knew about. We want him to say something on air here for our guests or for our content people, or make the content for these people, and give them something what is it that we don't know about you? And he did. We knew that he was a man of faith, But man, like that podcast took a whole different direction.
Yeah.
It was just great, and for the good, for the great, and he just went off, and we didn't even talk. We just let him talk. We're like, okay, hey, you took, this is it. And then he's a collector. He talked about being a collector, with toys and stuff. And then he talked about his childhood. And so
was real.
Yeah, but
He was real.
but in order to get those real emotions and those questions out of them is what we're trying to do here. I mean, anybody can ask the same questions. You're like, oh, how'd you get that role? Or what made that role? Blah, blah, blah. We already know all that about you, bro. Let's talk about something else.
New. Tell us something new.
Yeah, exactly. Tell us something new that you could share with us. And nothing was off the table. I mean, he says, if you do ask me something, I'll go with it. And we're like, all right, cool, man. So,
yeah, and it was really it was a great podcast because it took that left turn, and it was something that was unexpected, but it was real. I mean, he wasn't acting. That was the whole thing. He was sitting in front of the mic, and he wasn't acting. That was beautiful. Let me ask you another thing, Diego.
Yeah.
How far did you go after high school? Did you go on to college?
No, hell no. No, dude. Okay, so check this out.
We highly recommend it. We do highly recommend it.
So listen. So okay, you guys want me to? Okay, so I was supposed to go to Pima, and I had like a little bit of scholarship money, and I used that to pay my rent for 6 months. So I didn't really go to college at all, and I do recommend, my generation, and I'm so glad you brought that up. So my generation, I'm 40 years old, so I graduated in 2000. I'm a late 80s, 90s kid. So when we were growing up, it's like college, right? But you know what? Me, it's like now we're short on electricians, we're short on plumber. A welder can sometimes make more money than doctors, depending on what type of welder you are. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We've discussed this before. They took our vocations away, and then they stopped teaching vocations, which was sad because that's what we need right now.
And then with the pandemic, it took a different turn. Yeah. But now that you're
Exactly,
on that point, do you have children?
Yeah, I got 3 kids.
3 kids. What would you tell them?
Just follow your dream, man. Like, look at, man. Like, my dad's always told me. My dad's, my dad's a man. He's a wise man. But he's told me, he's like, look, I don't care if you're a bricklayer. Just be the best damn bricklayer. And then, he's like, look, you want to work at McDonald's? That's fine. He's like, but you know what? Set goals for yourself. Be a manager. And then after being a manager, be an executive. And after being an executive, be this. You know what I mean? So he's always like, he's always insinuated that no matter where I go, just be better than everybody else, or just try to be best. Yeah, just be the best at it.
And see, that was my point. Is that, and that's what empowering people is all about. It's college is fine. You going to university is fine. It's not for everybody, but
It's not at all.
It will make you marketable. But it doesn't mean you're successful just once you get that college degree, because if you get the degree and don't do anything with it, then you kind of sit there.
Right, yeah. And I see a lot of people, I don't mean to cut you out, but I see a lot of people doing that. I mean, they went to school because mommy and daddy told them, and they got a degree in
They can't find a job.
Psychology. Because it was the easiest degree, and mom and dad told me, and then otherwise if I didn't go, they would kick me out. You know what I mean? Now they got this degree, they don't know what they're doing with it. So I mean, I tell people this: follow your passion. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, start your own business. It's a lot of work. It's hard. It sucks. There's a lot of growing pains. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you, but the reward is it's your own, and you can call it your own. And it's what you build, and nobody told you to build it. And also too, you can't blame. And if it doesn't succeed, you can't blame anybody but yourself. So. Just make sure to just follow that and to keep going.
And I have 2 degrees myself, and I became a teacher, and there's people out there that never went to college and are making 2-3 times. I mean, if I had to do it all over, I probably would have been an electrician. Those folks make bank.
Man, they do. I'm telling you.
And so my point is, college is great. We want to encourage that because it does make you marketable, but it's not a necessity, as Diego has proved time and time again. Now, I was kind of alluding to the fact that because he had a business closed, that somebody might say, well, you failed each time. I don't look at that. I look at Diego as saying each business taught him how to get to the next business.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe, okay, so All right, so maybe if I would have gone to school for business, maybe I'd be a little bit more successful. So like, but honestly, it's like, yeah, I you grow and you learn from each business, and yeah, I've closed one, opened one, closed, but there's times where people have had 10 businesses and haven't became a millionaire, or they finally became a millionaire with their one big idea,
Yes,
and
yes.
stuff like that. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be a millionaire.
Why not? Why not? I mean, what level do you want to take Pop Studio?
I'm going to tell you this. I mean, I believe in everything happening naturally, and this podcast studio is happening naturally. We're not forcing anything. Everything's just happening on its own, and that's how I like to keep it, And I'm not trying to be a millionaire, honestly. If I can pay my bills, go on a vacation or two during the year,
Or pay people college back.
yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, that's a bad story. But if I can do that, then that's my level of success. Everybody has different levels of success.
There you go.
That they think about. Me, I just want to be able to pay a little bit of bills, go on a couple of vacations, and not have to work for anybody. Like that's like my main goal, and that's what I shoot for. And as long as I'm in that area, I'm happy. Now, if for some reason in that area it starts growing and getting bigger on its own naturally, then man, more power to me. But honestly, I don't force anything. I just let it happen.
And see, Diego's being humble because he and I have already talked about the possibility of doing short films here. He's got another part of the building that he's like to expand and do other things. He'd like to make it a studio where folks can come in and do bigger shows. We're talking about doing filming some commercials here. So he's not telling you the whole picture yet, which he may be keeping a secret. But and he's very humble about that. But we see this as something that's going to be grand, and because it's not the studio itself. It's not a joke. It's not like other folks that have attempted to do podcasts, and they're kind of fly by night, or they're done in somebody's kitchen. That type of thing. I mean, this is a professional studio. Lights,
well, thank you.
cameras,
I appreciate it.
and everything. It's real cool. I mean, this would be a good birthday if you wanted to give your 12-year-old, 13-year-old daughter a cool birthday gift. Give them a podcast session.
Oh yeah, because that's what they like. That's a good idea,
yeah, man. They can put it on YouTube.
I'm gonna
they can
steal that one.
Put it on
Podcast and
Facebook,
birthdays.
Instagram, or
Twitter
or Twitter, or whatever it is.
And I thank you for that, honestly, because I swear to you, like, we built this studio, but like I've never been in a studio. Like I've been in like the news studio, like the news channel, but I've never actually been in like a real studio. So like when I built this, and I tell Chris this, my engineer, he's back there on the behind the booth, because I've never been in a studio, I don't know what to compare it to. Like, I don't know what to compare this to than other places because I've never been there. But people seem to be liking it and they seem to be enjoying it, and it seems that thank God, blessing, knock on wood, that I have the right equipment to do it, and I was able to afford it. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. That's a big compliment.
Your catch line of innovate and imitate, right? It's not like the other podcasts. It's not like the other areas that are doing the same thing you were doing.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Something totally different that is standing out, and I think that is what's catching.
Oh, thank you.
And for being so real. Right, there's so many out there that are going to be looking at this podcast, and are going to identify themselves.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, we had nowhere to compare this to. We didn't know, we didn't know what we're doing, and we're just going with the flow, and I'm happy that you guys are here and doing what we're doing,
And big shout out to you for supporting us.
Thank you.
And his engineer Chris Kidney has his own football show, correct?
Yeah,
shout out to Chris.
Yeah, he's out there. He's a great engineer. He came to me. He's been with me since the beginning. I noticed the things that he was doing, and I really liked it. And I said, that's what I want. And then I told Chris, how do we get what you have, but to a bigger scale?
And funny story about Chris is that when we started doing the podcast here, we wanted to use Martha's got a beautiful card made with her beautiful self on it, and I had my business card for Hypnosis Works as a hypnotherapist, And Chris says, I'm not going to use your card, bro. I said, you're not going to, no. I said, it looks like it's on recycled paper, man. I'm just going to, here, let me work up some stuff. And he designed a card that I went and had printed because it was so bad. Can I say badass?
Yeah, you could. Hey, this is your show.
It was
This
so
is your show.
badass that I'm thinking, wow. And I'm looking at the card, and if you'll probably see it at the end. But if you look closely at the hourglass, you'll see somebody, a gentleman bent over, kind of like pondering, kind of maybe a little bit depressed or anxious. And I thought, how did he do that? So I agree with you that Chris is a genius.
Man, yeah, and that's
And
what
what
we
he
use.
does
Yes,
is what his craft
And
is.
we always talk about this. I don't mean to cut you guys out, honest.
No.
But we always talk about this, and no insult to my city or anything like that. But we always say it's easy to be Tucson good. You know what I mean? It's easy to be, to please people here. You know what I mean? And we don't want to be Tucson good. We want to be better than that. Especially if we're
Tucson different.
Tucson
I know that's
yeah.
what stood out from you the other
Yeah,
day.
and
It's a Tucson thing.
It's a Tucson. If you're out there, you know
That's
who we're
like you,
talking
Steve
about.
Nunez.
Yeah. But that's a shout out to our boy, right? Yeah. So,
Shout out Stevie.
and he'll be here too. He's gonna be doing his podcast here too. Yeah, to Steve Nunez, good job, guy. But no, but honestly, so it's like, how do we do that? We're independent. People are starting to feel. You know what? We're getting a lot of comparisons to. The public, remember the Tucson Public Access Station?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're getting a lot of feedback and stuff like that, about like what this is what reminds them of.
Well, here's the other thing. If you have a small business and you like to advertise but don't have the big business budget, and you can't put commercials on the television stations, Channel 4, Channel 9, Channel 13, you can always have a commercial created here through the studio that can be played as part of anybody's podcast, as well as on the YouTube links through Pop Studio, as well as YouTube links. And Martha, we're going to start doing that ourselves, is start doing our own commercials for a small fee. And Martha and I have talked about helping Diego in establishing that. We'll create a commercial. You can create a commercial, have it filmed here, and bing, bang, boom, you're ready to roll. And you're getting it. Of course, social media is probably the best. It's the next best thing to cable
branding,
television.
Yeah.
The other thing too that Diego and I talked about, Dave, was putting your ads during these podcasts.
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
over 30,000 viewers, right? You
We
were
have over,
saying?
we've only been in business
And growing.
Yeah, we've only been in business for 4 months. We just hit 1,000 followers a couple of days ago, and then per month since we opened, we've had about 30,000 viewers in the total months, and it's all Southern Arizona based, and we're averaging about 3,000 to 5,000 views per video right now per podcast. We have 5 podcasts right now, I believe, on Pop Studio that I personally produce, and then including your guys's, I think that's 6, and then
And the Tucson things coming soon.
then it's a Tucson thing. Hey. So there's a lot of exciting things, a lot of cool things coming out of here. That's going to be related to the community, and that's what we want to do.
That's awesome.
And that form of advertising is the wave of the future. Like when you go to the movies, I went to the movies not too long ago, and I'm sitting there waiting for the movies. I see people's ads coming across the screen. I thought, wow, what a great idea. And that's the kind of setup that we're talking about here. Is it?
Yeah, we already do that with some. We already do that with some of our other podcasts. So I mean, I don't want to do this, but I'll do it anyway. If you want an ad, please contact us for one of our shows, and we'll put you on there. It's very affordable, and there's nowhere else where you can. The prices that we have for putting ad space into our podcast, where it's going to reach thousands of people per month. So I mean, and they're all from Southern Arizona. So I mean, I know we're on the internet, but with the algorithm that we have and stuff, it's all Southern Arizona based. So people are gonna be seeing it, and there's good reactions. So yeah, so
again, Diego's a Tucson homeboy. I'm sorry. Didn't want to say homeboy, but that's a Tucson thing.
man,
Um,
yeah.
But
oh
he's
boy.
from the Pascua Yaqui tribe. He's a graduate of Tucson High School.
Tucson High School, 2000,
Badger.
baby. I'm a Badger. You guys know me out there. Hello, thank you very much. Give me a shout out.
He's a
please
Badger.
show me, love me, please.
He's a small business that's gonna make it soon a huge business. Pop Studios.
Follow his page.
Follow.
Hey, and I want to thank you. I want to thank you too for having me on the show. You know, it's great being here. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you guys something. Like,
Tell us.
I have not been on any. I have a podcast studio, and I haven't been on a podcast. I have not done a single. I did that one.
Irony.
I've done that one with Noel G, and then that's it. I haven't been in front of
Yeah.
the camera. I've kind of just let everybody just take it off and do it on their own, you know, and build it, you know, and build it with me behind the scenes. That's kind of like what I like to do. You know, I like to be the wizard behind the curtain, Wizard of
Wizard?
Oz. Yeah,
Oh my
I kind
God.
of like being like that. You know what I mean?
Well,
but
we feel honored. This
You
is
know.
this is
No,
pretty
thank
awesome.
you.
That
You guys are
we got
awesome.
to see
No.
somebody that eventually is gonna grow and grow and grow and grow. I can't
Thank
wait
you.
to see what your next venture is gonna be.
Oh,
But
dang,
most
yeah.
importantly, that that you're reaching out to the community and you're helping.
With
Thank
the
you.
listeners out there, again, the point we wanted to bring, Martha and I wanted to bring to you, the viewers and the listeners, is that he's a risk taker, and anybody can be a risk taker. We had
You, Leo?
Fernando Valencia the
Cancer.
other day. It was the same way.
What day?
yeah, 9.
Okay, I'm
July.
the 23rd. so
Oh,
I'm the
there we
cusp.
go.
There we go. No wonder. Yes.
But they're all the folks we have on this show, the guests that we have, are all going to be risk takers of some form, and
Yeah.
the folks that have.
But this
that-
is
that
the
have-
risk taker.
Huh?
This is the risk
The-
taker.
the-
Oh, I
risk
don't care.
takers.
I'll jump off of man. I don't care, man. I'll jump off a bill. Like, yo, it's. I mean, it's like I said, when you take the first. You know, have you ever like I don't know, like I like to use it as you're at a lake and then you know you see everybody jumping off that big rock, and then you get scared and you're like, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know, and then you finally have the courage to do it, and then you're like, damn, man, that ain't that bad. You know, and then you get back on, you jump off the rock. That's how
Yeah.
that's how I like to compare
But
it to.
there
You know what I mean?
You look for a higher rock. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
happens.
Look, man, you know, it's empowering people, and I love the show, and I love
Oh,
what you
that's
guys are.
awesome.
I love what you guys are doing.
Chris
you know,
is gonna love this show too.
and you know,
tag 'em.
I know you.
We're
should.
gonna get him to be a guest.
You know, I love it, and
Yes,
you know,
we need Chris as a
we
guest.
need to, you know, we need more entrepreneurs, we need more risk takers out there because honestly, you could have the next big idea, you could have the next invention. I mean, like I know Noel G, he mentioned Shark Tank. You know, people, and then you're like, you know, people are getting $1 million deals for shit that, you know, you were sitting down thinking that shit, I can do that.
I could have done that.
I could have done. You know, I want to give a shout out to it's a business. Tana Botana. What is it?
Tana Botana.
Yeah, like okay, yeah, we gonna make some candy, and you know we're gonna see how it goes. Like heck no, dude, they make candy. People have been doing
They
it
had
forever.
parties,
Yeah, and then look, I like to use them, and I don't know these people. I don't know. So I'm not getting paid to advertise them right now.
They'll be our guest.
Oh really? You know them?
Yeah,
but we'll- yeah.
Well,
Okay.
the other
All
half
right,
of
cool,
Tana
yeah.
Botana is another entrepreneur.
Oh, I didn't know that, yeah.
He became a barber, then he started a barber school. I think he's got a couple
Wow,
schools
see,
going.
so that's crazy. So like I use them as a perfect example because they had a simple idea, let's sell candy, and then they took the risk, and now like they got like 3 stores in town.
Mexican candy, and there's vending machines. They have vending
Yeah,
machines.
that's what I mean,
with
and it's
Mexican candy.
super crazy.
They do?
So you know,
Yeah.
what
I
I'm
haven't
saying is,
seen 'em.
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that you have a simple idea, just take it and run with it, and you know, and you don't know what's gonna happen, you don't know where it's gonna take you. So you know, I mean, if you like sewing and you know you want to sew patches or something, do it. I mean, like you know what's the worst that's gonna happen? You know, I mean,
You're
seriously.
gonna prick yourself.
I had a friend of mine that what he would do is he would go to yard sales, and he knew like somebody was getting rid of a Louis Vuitton purse that didn't know it was a Louis Vuitton purse, especially estate sales where you know folks are just trying to
Yeah.
get rid of stuff. He would buy it for dirt cheap, and then he started a business where he put all this stuff on the internet. And people were,
Oh,
he
that
would
can
ship it
sell,
all over the
yeah.
and he was able to leave his job, and so you know ideas like that. Take a risk, folks. That's what this show is all
Yeah.
about. Empowering people, empowering you to take a risk. Whatever success means to you, like Diego said, again, whether it's just doing something on a simple level, losing 5 to 10 pounds, or trying to make millions, like Fernando was talking about the other day. Our guest.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
there.
You know.
So we're about run out of time. We want to
Yeah,
thank
man.
Yeah,
Diego
Diego, do you
Rivera.
want to share where we can they can follow you?
Yeah, man. You guys can follow me at Facebook at Pop Studio, and then on Instagram at Pop Studio AZ. Check us out. We have, like I said, we have plenty of shows available for your content. So check us out, and then we have some special guests, celebrity guests, who we are coming out to Tucson to come be on our shows, which I'm very excited about.
Noel G was here.
Oh,
That's
no.
just the beginning, man. That's just the beginning.
so awesome. Congratulations, Diego. That's super cool.
Thank you guys very much for having me, and good luck on your guys' show and your guys' venture. We appreciate it,
Oh,
and then
thank
we'll
you.
be here
Thank
to
you for
support you.
supporting us.
As much as you want. Boom. Come check
This could
me
be
out.
you.
So I mean, everybody has a podcast idea. We're always open to ideas. So come on out, let us know. We'll give you prices. Send us a message.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to say goodbye, folks. Thanks again for tuning in, and hopefully tune in for more podcasts. This is Dave Membrilla from Hypnosis Works LLC and Realty MD saying goodbye.
Where you're a pulse away to start your own business.
And Martha Dabdoob
With
from
Realty MD.
Realty MD saying goodbye,
Empowering
empowering people.
people.
We'll see you next time.
See you
Ciao.
guys.
Ciao.